Yo, what's going on, man? It's Zupa, Curva Joseph, man. Hey, you listening to the Honolulu Blues. You hear me?
Welcome. It's almost that time of year again. It's kind of crazy that I guess technically the Lions will still have to play one more game, I guess, on Christmas. I was going to say before Christmas, but close enough. Me and Nick feeling the holiday spirit. Julius repping some Lions gear as always.
Julius is grinching out over there, dude.
We got PFT commenter today with us, but nothing too crazy for you guys. Going to do a little recap of the Rams' tough loss. Maybe let Julius give a few thoughts on his bet that we had a little earlier. If not,
I forgot all about it until now, Adam. Thank you.
Julius, I honestly, sorry, a little context to this. Julius had, he lives in Germany, so I'm basically his bookie. So I have to place his bets, and sometimes they'll give you a cash out. If you're better, FanDuel, DraftKings, they give you cash outs all the time. Julius had a $20 bet, does this every week, a $20 to win like $3-4 grand, and it was up to like $1,500 at halftime. And I was thinking as if this was like my own bet and what I would do. And I was telling Julius, like, no, you should just send me over $500 and I'll throw $500 on the Rams, because that was pretty much the last leg that needed to be hit the Lions to win. Well, Julius decided, you know what, going for all the glory. It's Lions win or bust. Fortunately, you guys know how that went, and it was a bust. But that whole week, I literally, Monday, Tuesday, I was just thinking, why didn't I tell him to cash that out? I felt, Julius, I felt so bad. I felt like a terrible.
It's okay, Adam. We both learned a lot in the moment. Next time, just be like, hey, I'm cashing this out for you, buddy. I don't give a fuck what you say.
I know.
And next time, I'm not even going to hesitate to tell you to cash that boy out. If I get, it was an 11-pick parlay, my friend, and it was 10 picks deep. They tried to give me the hand to saying that we wasn't going to stop Nakua and Stafford. And I felt it in my gut, but I really wanted the Lions to win.
It was a tricky situation.
They had a 10-point lead. I mean, for a $20 bet at that point, as a noob, I took the shot. Next time, I'll know better.
And the main problem was, I was looking at it as if it was your money. So I'm thinking, this isn't my money. So yes, I did want you to win, of course.
I respect that, Adam.
But I wasn't as aggressive. And when Monday came, I was looking back like, yeah, I would have probably.
That was an easy cash out. I know it was easy.
My own money. And now I was definitely still rooting for it heavy, because you did mention, I'll cut you in a little on the cheese. So that would have been nice.
You was getting your piece, man.
You gotta tip out. You gotta tip the dealer. You gotta always tip the dealer.
But while we're talking, let's dive into this Rams game. Rams, especially, they just came off a crazy loss in which they costed me an extra $15, because I was under the assumption that
I don't think your $15 has any hang right now, bro. That's like a penny to what Julius is. So let's calm down on that $15.
All right, well, let me get to where I'm going. They lost on a 2-point conversion, and I did not realize that if Seattle got that 2-point conversion, it was game over. Or if they didn't get the 2-point conversion, it was game over. I was under the impression, there's still 4 minutes left. The Rams will get the ball back because they each scored a touchdown. But after thinking about it for a minute, I was like, no, it's only if like the scores are even, field goal, touchdown. And yeah, the Seahawks won it in insane fashion, came back down 16 points in the fourth quarter. Sam Darnold showed that he looks a little bit better than last year, and I think the Seahawks team is a little bit of an upgrade from that Vikings team of last year. I do think the Rams are the better team. I think that lead got to them a bit. They did miss a couple field goals, had a couple shaky mistakes. Devontae Adams wasn't playing. So a few key factors in that game. But Rams fell, Seahawks won. What does that mean for the Lions? Unfortunately, the Seahawks were one of our ways in. If Seattle would have lost out and the Lions won out, even if the Bears did not lose another game except for that Lions game, the Lions would have jumped Seattle. So now check that one off. It comes down to, I think, the Packers losing 2 out of their last 3. We know the Bears scenario. Of course, they need to lose 1. Lions win out. Basically, it all comes down to the Lions have to win out. Then week 18, we can look at these different scenarios. And hopefully there's a few options and it's not just us beating the Bears in week 18. But Rams, Lions, Nick, we'll go to you. After that first half, what was your confidence level? What were you feeling? And is this any type of momentum that can be carried on? Like, did the Lions do enough to be like, you know what? We hung with the Super Bowl favorites. We can make the playoffs. We could win out and make something out of this.
Yeah. After the first half, confidence level was high. I was feeling it. That's a good lead. It could have been bigger. They got a couple points at the end of the half that kind of bummed me out, but I was feeling good. But ultimately, does this team carry the confidence? Even do they take a morale loss and carry that with them? I think guys like St. Brown and Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs say, hell no. A loss is a loss. I don't care how close we came. I don't care who the opponent was. I don't think there is a single opponent in the NFL that scares these guys. But those aren't the guys we're worried about, right? We are talking about our 3rd and 4th stringers starting in our secondary. And for those guys, even though we got beat up in our secondary and there were miscues for sure, and they scored 40+ points on us, there were plays that got made. There were plays to hang your hat on. And I do think for our lower tier guys that they absolutely should take everything that they should learn from the mistakes, but they should take their I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but they're well done's and ride with them, right? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I would say on that is I think you take but again, Dan Campbell isn't taking a moral victory and using that as momentum. We lost that game. We could have won that game. We stopped playing offense. We just stopped playing offense, and it was a brutal loss.
Outscored 17-0 that third quarter. The Rams, we were up 24-14 at one point. Dan Campbell made a crazy aggressive call to go for it on his own 30, led to a Lions touchdown with a minute left. And we were all just like, don't let the Rams score. Don't let them get a field goal. If they do get a field goal, it sucks, but not the end of the world. And that's exactly what they did. Marched straight down the field. And it kind of looked like they were going to score a touchdown for a second. I think they threw a deep pass to Puka, and he got him right in the red zone real quick. But my question for you, Julius, is over these last 4 weeks, and especially this Rams game, is there any concerns about Kelvin Shepherd, or are you chalking this up to, just injuries as always?
There's definitely concerns about Kelvin Shepherd, but let me tell you what, there's definitely even more concern on my end from. And game by game, season by season, I am more convinced that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes needs to fire the entire training staff and start over. I don't care. They're good people. I understand we're all good people. But 2 years in a row, we had the worst injury luck in the NFL. 2 years in a row is costing us huge, especially on defense. Somebody has to be held accountable for that. I don't care. Injuries happen to every team, blah, blah, blah. No. Our bodies have to be stronger. Our bodies have to be healthier. I'm sick of watching this. I'm sick of watching guys that I can probably play with in the German football league, playing safety and going against the best receivers in the NFL every week. This is the same way we lost to the Washington Commanders last year, is because
And
our
the
defense is
49ers.
so decimated, and the 49ers, our defense is so decimated by injuries. Our offense, which is great, even with its own little issues, great enough to score enough points to win. Bro, if we score 30 or more points in a game, the Lions need to win the game. However, we cannot do that if we're leaking points. If we're leaking 40-plus points to every good team we play, we're going to be one and done in the playoffs. I really, really hope something happens with, the scheme with, Kelvin Shepard, talking about Kelvin Shepard again. I don't think he's done a great job because his scheme isn't good enough to account for the injuries to the defense. I'm sorry. That's what he's been. That's the standard he's been held to with this horrendous injury luck. He has to make work. He has to make dirt work. Dirt turn to gold. If he can't do that, he failed. So look at the training staff, because that's 2 years in a row.
I kind of agree with you there. A lot of people, there's a lot of Lions beat reporters that, it has nothing to do with the training staff. It's, bad luck. Every team gets injuries. But yeah, honestly, even 3 years in a row is like, all right, what's going on here? You can't really say we're practicing too hard because you only get 14 practices a season.
That's what's next on the list, Adam. That is what's next on the list. Is Dan Campbell pushing these guys into the ground too much in practice? Because when they come out to the game, they're brittle. Because if that's the case, we need to know too. Because he needs to stop doing that.
Yeah, a lot of, someone needs to be held accountable, I guess. And I feel like it's a little bit of mixture of everything with, Brad Holmes loves drafting injured players, loves going after a guy that's been injured. But at the end of the day, the two big red flags that come to mind are Kirby Joseph, why he was sent back out after that Chiefs game and then re-injured his knee. And now there's just like nothing on him. We haven't put him on IR. He hasn't been practicing. He did have a limited practice a couple weeks ago where he was running around in a knee brace. And all of a sudden he's got a setback. And same goes with Terrion Arnold, where it was like week 3, he had a shoulder injury. Everyone thought, season's over. Many, many people thought season was over. Then he got a second opinion. And all of a sudden, this is only a 3-week injury. Comes back, plays decent, gets a concussion, then comes back from the concussion, re-injures that shoulder, and is now having that shoulder surgery and is done for the season. So, Nick, any thoughts on the med staff, on just too many injured players that, we're given second chances to, or do you just chalk it up to just, straight up bad luck?
I think as fans, we try to find a scapegoat.
I was literally just going to say that. That's so weird.
So like we do our best to blame something. And this isn't just in football. This is in life as well. If something's not going your way, I think it's a lot of the times you don't accept it. You almost kind of try to blame something to help yourself come to this conclusion that this is where you're at. And for the Lions, it's trying to come to a conclusion that we're 8-5 and not 10-3. I don't think that we need to blame the strength and conditioning coaches or staff members or anything like that. I think Dan Campbell instills an extreme physical type of team, one that we've probably never seen, but maybe comparison would be like a Jim Schwartz style team. Very rough around the edges, very gritty. And that's just gonna lead to players playing injured. We could say the same thing about St. Brown that we're saying with Kirby. It's like, well, why did he come back so soon? Well, St. Brown came back after tearing his pec a few years ago and played the full season. Like, that's just how we're gonna play, and we're gonna practice, and we're gonna play games just like that. We really do just have to we have to accept it. I don't think there's gonna be a year where we're like, no injuries, it's a miracle, because then we're playing too soft. That's too soft a football for Dan Campbell. It's just not going to be. And then we can look at Kelvin Shepherd and be like, dude, this ain't it, dude. This defense sucks. We've allowed X amount of points. The Cowboys, the Rams, those are good offenses. But then you can keep going. The Giants, and that's Jameis Winston and stuff like that. You say this defense isn't good. I get it. I get it that, like, you as a coordinator, you should be good enough to overcome whatever injuries come your way. But my man is missing Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, and Terrion Arnold. You really are playing with guys that could be starting in the German football league out there. And that's, how can you watch that and say, well, the coordinator needs to make sure that he's schemed up better? To me, I don't see that. To me, I see guys doing their best, very similar to what I saw Al-Qaim Muhammad doing last year when we lost to Washington. Did I think last year we could have got a better edge rusher than Zadarius Smith and AQM? Probably. But that's just what we had. And Aaron Glenn did his fucking best, but on the whole, we let up 40 freaking points to the Commanders. Aaron Glenn, Kelvin Shepherd, I don't care. Terrell Austin. Put whoever you want back there trying to coach these freaking secondary guys. And it's rough. It's just rough. I would say Aaron Glenn was better than Shep, so it does bring a little bit of concern for Shep, but I'm not overly concerned. Like, the only comparison I would be like is that Aaron Glenn got us to the NFC Championship with Kindle Vildor starting. And Kindle Vildor looked damn good, and he's still a starter in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, he is still starting in the NFL for Tampa Bay right now, a playoff contending team. The fact of the matter, though, is you can't sit here and put blame on Dan Campbell, on Kelvin Shepherd, on Brad Holmes, on whatever, on the strength and conditioning coaches, in my opinion. You just have to fucking take it. Take the punch on the chin and keep rolling. And the Lions are doing that. 8-5, and we are acting like the world is literally crumbling. Like, the rug is getting pulled out from beneath our feet. Because we're 8-5.
8-6.
8-6. Sorry, right? 8-6, 8-6, 8-6. Anyways, like, years ago, we would have been 6-8 and been like, this might be the best team in Lions history. There's a chance we win the playoffs and then win the Super Bowl if we just win our final 4 games or final 3 games. I'm not mad. I won't be mad about this team. I won't be mad about these injuries. And I won't be mad about these injuries next year when it happens again. And if you think it's not gonna, then you're crazy. Just deal with it. Go win football games with who you got out there. Do your job.
Yeah, I agree in a sense. I think the biggest difference is between Glenn and Kelvin Shepherd is Kelvin Shepherd seems to be still calling this defense like he has all the guys out there. Like he has Kirby, Branch, Terrion, all the dudes out there. Where Aaron Glenn, when he lost guys, he was just like, F it. I'm blitzing. I'm going to blitz 54% of the time. And that was his blitz rate with the Lions. And Kelvin Shepherd, it's kind of, I feel like it's messed with him a bit because we've played some bad teams with bad offenses. Like the Eagles was a perfect example. Held the 16 points. The Eagles offense, it hasn't been what it was last year. Are they a Super Bowl caliber team? Yes, of course. But their offense has not been as sharp as it once was. And holding them to 16 points was like hey, we did, this is still working for us. Let's keep the same system. But now that we've seen, the Giants, the Packers, these good teams run up the score on the Lions, I want to see something different. And I feel like this Steelers team is a perfect opportunity for Kelvin Shepherd to just try something. Because if we see old man Rodgers come out and carve up the Lions, even if we win, 38-31, it's still going to be like, man, this team still doesn't have a defense. The identity's not there. And I just want to see us dominate not just the bad teams, but like the mediocre teams. And that's exactly what the Steelers are right now. They're 8-6 as well. Granted, they are in first place in their division, but their division's been a complete mess the whole season. So if we can just hold Rodgers to, I'll say 15, 16 points or less, I think that's a good mark for the Lions and something to look forward to, because the next 3 games we got, Steelers, Vikings, Bears, no offense really freaks me out. Maybe the Bears a smidge just because they got a lot of confidence. Ben Johnson is, an offensive wizard. But ultimately, none of those 3 teams have elite playmakers from top to bottom. Sure, the Vikings have Justin Jefferson, but he's been a nobody with J.J. McCarthy. The Steelers have, DK Metcalf and Rodgers, but those guys don't concern me. And the Bears, Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, and DJ Moore. Come on. So the Lions, I want to see something different. This is the one time where a win would not feel as good as it should if the Lions allow the Steelers to just hang in there, post a lot of points, and we just let the offense try to win the game. Because I'm pretty confident the Lions offense can beat 60 to 70% of the teams in the NFL if they're having, an A to A+ type game. And if we were playing 60 or 70% of the teams in that Rams game, we win. 34 points should get you a victory 99 times out of 100. So it's a little bit concerning. Julius, any other, comments on this Rams game? Anything you noticed? Do you think Goff is kind of in a new stride? Do you feel, J-Moan Goff connection is there? And maybe even what's up with the Gibbs 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdown, 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns?
Well, off the rip with Gibbs, it comes down to the defense we're up against. Our offensive line has shown a penchant for being able to maul weak defensive fronts. But if we're going up against a good one, top 5 like the Rams, we can't run the ball. It's proven. In every game we played a top 10 run D, we cannot run the ball. Maybe, I think, against Cleveland, I think that might have been the only good run defense that we caught off guard a little bit. But I think even through the air, we got them mostly. It's just as simple as that. It's not the same offensive line as in the last couple years. So it's just, we can do our damage with Gibbs, but it's going to be games where we're going to have to do more with Goff. And that's pretty much what I noticed with Goff, is that we can count on him. Another reason that we can count on him again this season is Jameson Williams, the emergence of Jameson Williams. When we lost Sam Laporta, that was a huge spike in the heart to a lot of the things we do on offense, running the ball, passing the ball. So we needed somebody else to step up in that frame. Even with run blocking, Jameson Williams has showed up for the last 5 weeks. When Amon-Ra first got hurt, he came through, showed he could be a number 1 receiver, 15 targets, 10, 11 catches, 160 yards. He's done it multiple times. Amon-Ra comes back in the fold. He's doing it. He's still doing it. So guess what we got in our hands? We got 2 wide receiver 1s for Jared Goff to dispose the ball to. And as long as we got that, with Gibbs in the backfield as a threat, our offense is prima donna of the NFL. Still, we can still drop a 50 burger on anybody. It's because we got the weapons.
So I got a little 2-parter, I guess, question for the both of you. Not 2-part question. It's kind of straightforward. So typically everyone always says, the gun to your head, what would you do? And I feel like a lot of people answer that question a little bit differently, because they're like, no one's ever going to put a gun to my head and make me choose Lions or Steelers. So now I'll try to give it a little different spin, try to get the brain thinking differently. Someone says, Nick, Julius, I will give you $1 million if you get this prediction correct. Do the Lions make the playoffs?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
In fact, not like only yes. I'm almost guaranteeing the playoffs.
Ooh.
I'll guarantee we are in the playoffs. I said this a long time ago. I said we're going to make the playoffs as a 7 seed. We're going to beat the Eagles as the 2 seed. We're going to beat the Rams as the 1 seed, but I ain't got to worry about that no more. It might be the Seahawks, which is even easier. And then we get to go play like the Bucks or whoever upsets the Rams, and we'll be in the Super Bowl. I guarantee we make the playoffs. We have the Steelers and the Vikings, and the Vikings beat us the last time. Yeah, Dan Campbell ain't going to mess around that one. And then I'm worried about the Bears. Is that the same Bears that we put up 50 points on? I cannot remember. I
Same
believe
Bears,
it is.
same Bears.
Okay,
Same
couldn't
exact
remember.
Bears.
I do
Just
believe
some more injured Bears.
So exactly, dude. I'm honestly, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I guaranteed the Rasheed Wallace guaranteed that we make the playoffs.
Listen, I will call for right now. Right now. I'll call it right now. If all hell breaks loose and Aaron Rodgers somehow does his thing on this ravaged defense and they squeak out a win with a lucky offensive turnover from Goff or something, fire Shepard.
Whoa!
There'll be devastation. There's going to be devastation. Because listen how confident we are about these 3 games.
Well, I was going to say Pittsburgh is the scariest game of all, and it's not because it's Pittsburgh by any means.
That's a good point.
It's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers in Ford Field, my man, is gonna. I bet this game comes down to Aaron Rodgers throwing a Hail Mary at the very end.
To be clear, this game has no ramifications for the Steelers' playoff hopes. They can lose to us, and they can lose their next game, which I think is to Minnesota. They can lose. No. I forgot who they play, but they can lose both of those games against NFC teams. Beat Baltimore the last week of the season and go to playoffs. So they kind of not looking at it as much the same importance as we are, guys. But guess who might be? Aaron Rodgers, who hates us.
We spent countless hours AI generating Kirby Joseph father pictures holding Aaron Rodgers. Like, probably too much time. Like, there might be something wrong with every Detroit Lions fan, the way we like hyper focused on Kirby Joseph picking off Aaron Rodgers or his last Green Bay Packer throw of all time. And then that picture of Randall Cobb and Aaron Rodgers holding each other as they walk off Lambeau after being eliminated from the playoffs from the Lions. I don't know about you, but Aaron Rodgers also seems like a guy who holds a grudge and is a smart guy and remembers grudges from many, many, many moons ago. I do believe he will come out here with a full-on vengeance, and DJ Reed up against DK Metcalf is going to be one of the most intense watches of all time, especially because DJ Reed kind of seems like he needs to prove himself a little bit more after that injury. He was so good in the beginning, and then the injury, and he came back, and he's been, I don't want to say disappointing because he hasn't been. I've seen disappointing cornerbacks. He is not as bad as what Cam Sutton was at the end of the 2023 season, but he ain't great right now. He needs to do something. I think maybe it's because he's trying to do too much. He understands that the secondary is obliterated, and we're looking to see if like Luis Delmos and Dre Bly can start for us. So like, I understand what DJ Reed's going through, but the fact of the matter is him and DK Metcalf is going to be a battle, and it's going to be very fun to watch, along with Darnell Washington, the 390-pound left tackle who plays tight end for him. We need a Dan Skipper catch in this game just to like give it back to him, in my opinion.
I'm calling it now. I think the Steelers will have at least, might be the same tight end, but they're going to have 2 touchdowns by a tight end just because the Lions seem to not be able to cover tight ends. We saw it against the Rams. Colby Parkinson, Terrence Ferguson had a touchdown, which we can talk about that real quick, where the refs just decided, you know what? Yeah, it's the Lions. We'll give it to them. And even kind of jump around topics, going back to that Seahawks-Rams game where they got that two-point conversion, I thought to myself, if that was the Lions, there is not a chance in hell they overturned that and say it was a backwards pass recovered by the Lions in the end zone, 2-point conversion. Could they say the ruling on the field stands, incomplete pass, move on?
If it's against the Lions, though, that's a definite 2-point conversion. In fact, they might get 7 points off of it. So, I don't know how.
But the Lions, yeah, that touchdown catch was insane.
I don't know. You guys didn't really think it was a touchdown? I get where they were coming from. You can say the ball hit the ground, but I don't get it.
I
get where they were coming from, but the
dude didn't have possession and never hit the ground. He got position while in the end zone, not out of bounds. But
you know what I thought first when I first saw it? It wasn't a catch. The ball bobbled on the ground.
Yeah.
How can you reclaim possession from the ground?
Right. When the Rams coordinators were flabbergasted that they got that touchdown, that's when I knew. I was like, okay.
When you saw,
they
they're
should have
up
at least put it at the 1.
Which they were going to probably score no matter what. Sure,
yeah.
whatever. I get it, but like, come on, dude.
But
it's the principle.
It's just any catch against the Lions goes for a catch. We can go back to Kansas City when Travis Kelce caught one that like dribbled off the ground like he was Steph Curry and then caught it. And they're like, yeah, no, that's Travis Kelce. That's a catch. It's good. Thank God
possession in
the Chiefs are fucking eliminated and Patrick Mahomes. I don't celebrate injuries, but thank God that dude tore his ACL because I can take a year off of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me a full year off them.
Because we lost to them. We lost to the
Chiefs.
I
know we should have known.
That was part of the reason we did loss. Because was the refs.
That was a referee loss. Yeah, exactly.
We would not be in this position right now.
But we also lost to the Vikings, and that was not a referee's loss. That was
the refs were in that game too. The refs were in that game too. I remember the refs
in every fucking loss the Lions ever have. So don't.
I have PTSD, bros. I have PTSD. I'm scared that Aaron Rodgers and the refs going to end our season this Sunday.
Now, what we do.
I don't think they win, but I think Aaron Rodgers plays well. I'm going to hijack this real quick. I have Aaron Rodgers versus the Lions or Caleb Williams versus the Packers in a fantasy football. Which one would you start? ESPN says 17 points for Caleb, 14 points for Aaron Rodgers.
Caleb Williams.
Rodgers.
I'm starting Rodgers. I've made the decision on Tuesday, and I'm not going to tinker with it. I think Aaron Rodgers throws for 3 touchdowns on us. I'll get to a score prediction later on in the game, but I think he throws 3 touchdowns on us. And I think, Adam, you're right. Probably 2 of them to freaking the Muth and Connor Hayward or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Connor Hayward, Jonnu Smith, Patrick Freiermuth, and 500-pound Darnell Washington.
And Darnell Washington, yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting one. What I will say is why, I don't think the Steelers are our toughest game for the last 3. I think it's the Bears, and I think it's solely based off of where we're playing.
Obviously.
Playing in Chicago in January.
Yeah.
Don't feel great about it. And the fact that, it's always hard to sweep a divisional opponent. We already got the Bears once. And granted, we spanked them. That seems like centuries ago. Week 2 feels like forever ago. Ben Johnson has this team, grooving, feeling a little bit different. And I think if we are going to beat the Bears, it's going to need to be a Goff. Just don't turn the ball over. Gibbs, this is your game. Go get us in the playoffs, buddy. Or even Montgomery. And I fully think that can happen. And
Montgomery is old news, dude. Ain't nothing about Montgomery doing nothing.
Hey, for the Lions former team, you wouldn't think he'd take a little bit personal, guy. I don't know. I think
he did. I think he did a couple years ago.
He has experience playing in that cold Chicago weather if Gibbs is off that day, not feeling it. Monty,
I agree. But old Dan Campbell don't agree. He does not let Montgomery tout the rock anymore. That is not a thing. And he's talked
goal
about
line. He's scored in 3 straight games on the goal line.
Goal line, so we'll get him in on the goal line.
He's our goal line back. That's it. He's our goal line. David Montgomery is only our goal line back.
Yeah. It's Gibbs. It's the Gibbs show.
It really is. And I think that Dan Campbell and even Montgomery have realized that, hey, this dude is just freaking special. He's, putting up numbers.
He is special. But man, oh man, this whole week in and week out thing, win and loss thing is wicked. And to a point where something's got to be viewed. Like maybe this week, we ride Gibbs. He's going to get 3 touchdowns this week. It's almost written in the books. But next week against Minnesota, we just shouldn't even fucking play them because we haven't won 2 straight games since September. Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't rushed for 2 good games since September. Like something's going on. I don't know. I almost think Montgomery is criminally underutilized right now, which is super weird. I never would have thought I'd really say that, but I do think it's the fact. And it's because Gibbs gives us so much that it's like too much. You know what I mean? I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but I don't know. It's weird.
No, I get it. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there where obviously Gibbs is the better back. Obviously Gibbs could score anywhere on the field. But there are certain times where it'll be like a 2nd and 7, and Dan Campbell, for some reason, whoever's out there stays out there. Doesn't matter what the scenario is. If Gibbs starts that drive, it's 90% of the time Gibbs out there, unless Gibbs is lined up as a wide receiver or run the route or something like that. But I wish he would just flip-flop him a little bit more. Like, if Gibbs breaks off a big run, or, you can see he's been running around a lot, give it to Montgomery for, a 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, whatever, because he still, has that little bowling ball, not mentality, but like run game to him, where Gibbs sometimes will just, boom, run right into the back of the offensive line, where if Gibbs does that, it's no gain. If Montgomery runs into the back of Penei Sewell, they are both falling forward for 4 yards. So
it's got to be the lack of trust in the offensive line. Dan just doesn't trust in the offensive line, which means that Demo doesn't get his ops. It's crazy.
That's exactly that.
Mahogany? No, he's out, isn't he? Damn.
No, Mahogany actually looked good.
I think he's going to play.
I think Mahogany will play. He was full practice Tuesday, Wednesday.
Who the hell was I looking at?
Or Wednesday, Thursday, and limited on Friday. He's deemed questionable right now. Graham Glasgow, he's the one that you want to keep your eye on, although, it wouldn't be a huge loss.
Do we want to keep our eye on him?
I mean, I will say he is the center. So
yes. We'd probably rather have him than old Colin out there playing.
Yeah. He can get the calls right, because Cologne, I think against last game against the Rams, he got on the run plays, he got 10% of the calls wrong. Totally got the lanes blew up.
My man looks like Bartolo Colon out there trying to block something. Go throw a ball and eat a hot dog, dude. Ain't it?
He's calling invisible blitzers and stuff.
I'm seeing ghosts.
They said that Ragnow was actually the best in the NFL at that, at identifying blitzers, at calling the right calls on the line, the right man's, and getting everybody in set.
If you look up,
that he had his leg amputated right before he got signed with us.
If you look up any picture of Ragnow, half of them are him pointing. And yeah, you're spot on, Julius. He could see a defense. Glasgow,
he's a good guard. He's a good right guard.
He's decent at it. He's decent at it because the experience. He's been playing center since he was in high school. But Cologne, no. And Glasgow, he just can't move anymore. This guy's walking.
And then obviously Kirby Joseph ruled out, going to miss his 9th straight game, which is just sucks because it's just been a tease for the last 8 weeks where he wasn't placed on IR. We're thinking, all right, maybe this is the week. Maybe this is the week. Maybe, and even now where he gets a setback, Dan Campbell's like, yeah, it doesn't look good. He's like, I don't know if he's going to play this year, and he's still not on IR. So it's like, well, so you're telling me there's a chance. And I think that chance is the playoffs. If the Lions make the playoffs, I think there's a little shot where Kirby Joseph would come in that first playoff game. But outside of those two, we're not really banged up outside the guys that are already done for the season. So that is good. If we could get Mahogany back, that would be huge. Everyone else seems to be relatively healthy. On the other aspect, Steelers, they are down TJ Watt. They're down a starting offensive lineman, and they're down one of their safeties. So few key guys there. One in particular is TJ Watt. The fact that TJ Watt's not playing is huge because there is no doubt in my mind that if the Lions are down by 3 points, trying to get a game-winning drive, that Watt couldn't get a strip sack on Goff, just absolutely, dominate Decker. And I could easily see that as a possibility. So hopefully this gives Goff a little, peace of mind to where hey, I don't have to worry about that guy. Cool. Makes him feel a little bit better in the pocket, a little bit more comfortable, because I know for a fact when Goff's going against, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, he has that, all right, they're coming, and kind of will turtle down a bit. Without any elite, pass rusher, and yeah, they do have a couple dudes on there, Alex Highsmith, and there's one more decent edge rusher for the Steelers. But TJ Watt is a special dude. He's like he's been a defensive player of the year candidate the last 5-8 years. Granted, this year he hasn't really done a whole lot, has been injured quite a bit. But without him, I feel like the Lions, will have a little bit more of a peace of mind for that offensive line. And then another reason that, I think this game's a lot easier than the Bears game is mobile quarterbacks. Mobile quarterbacks seem to just destroy the Lions. And we saw it last week a little bit with Stafford.
Caleb Williams isn't mobile. My man has not rushed for more than 15 yards in a game since week 3.
Elusive. He might not be a runner, but
That's fair.
He could get outside. He can make plays. And especially, I don't know if you guys saw that touchdown pass to DJ Moore, where he was rolling to the right and it threw a great pass. And I will give him some props for it. And it does look like he is getting better. Now, do I think he's, one of the elite quarterbacks right now? Not really. I think he's right in the middle of the pack. But he's a quarterback, a big dude, young, has some legs. And Rodgers, Stafford, those guys have no legs. They are old. Rodgers is like 50 years old. If Hutch just gets one hand on, Rodgers is turtling. So if Hutch gets one hand on Caleb's doing whatever he can to make 3 spins, run around, and just get the ball away, which sometimes it works, but sometimes it'll lead to a Kirby Joseph interception. Now, we don't have Kirby Joseph, so there's that. But I think that we're going to see the defensive line come to play. And it's been tough because our defensive line, if you look by just the stats, by the numbers, you'd think, oh, Lions defensive line's killing it. They're, top 5 in sacks, top 5 in pass rush pressures. They're doing great. Well, yes and no. It's just been crazy inconsistent. Certain teams, we will not even touch a quarterback. Like against the Packers, I'm pretty sure we didn't sack Love one time, and we maybe had 2 QB hits in both of those games. With Stafford, we brought him down twice. Hutch had an interception too, which doesn't really play a role into the defensive sacks that I was getting to. Just want to mention it.
Sick.
Yeah, I know we're bouncing around here, but let's talk about that damn Hutch interception. That was freaking awesome. In hindsight, I'm a little happy because we still got the touchdown and helped out my dad's fantasy team, Amon-Ra, getting that touchdown. But, man, Hutch, how do you not score a dang touchdown there? Stop looking over your shoulder, put your head down, and run, buddy. Like, it was just left, right, left. For who's going to get me? Who's going to get me? Just keep going, dude. Until you're down, you're still up.
Yeah, it was awesome, though. It was such a good pick. Like, that was – oh, my gosh, was I screaming at that point in time. I was like, this is it. We don't lose on games where Hutch gets a pick, dude. We don't lose in these games. I was wrong.
All right, let's do a little – I know we've been talking Steelers, Lions, but let's do a little, MVP prediction. We've fallen off a bit on the MVP bandwagon, partially to the Lions losing games that just – puts a real damper on things. When you pick a dude to, have a great game and then he does it, then the Lions lose on top. It's like, who cares? I just want the Lions to win. So we are expected to win, 6.5-point favorites. So I don't even know who's starting off, but Nick, fire us off. We'll go, Nick, you give us your offensive MVP, Julius defensive MVP. I'll do score prediction and then fill it in as we go.
Interesting.
Sound like a plan?
I don't know if I'm going to remember all of it, but we'll do our best.
Pick an offensive MVP.
I don't know if Bob Dylan's even paying attention over to my left here, but we'll see what's going on. All right. Offensive MVP prediction for me. Waymo. I think they're going to have Jalen Ramsey on St. Brown as much as they can. Oh, wait, no. Jalen Ramsey plays safety for him now. I don't even know who their cornerbacks are because Slay's gone and Ramsey plays safety for him.
They got Joey Porter.
Oh, yeah. So he'll probably be on ASB. That's right. And then it's going to be the Waymo show. Give me 7 receptions for $150 and 2 touchdowns.
Now, a little stat about Jalen Ramsey. He has given up the most touchdowns in man-to-man coverage. It really seems like he is a bit, shell of himself. I haven't watched a whole lot of, Steelers games this year, but one that really jumps out was when the Bengals played the Steelers. It was some primetime game, probably Monday Night Football.
Go Flacco, baby.
The whole I think it was the spit game. Maybe that was second. But regardless, if you have Flacco and Jamar Chase carved up Ramsey. And I know everyone thinks, oh, that's Jamar Chase. Well, newsflash. Amon-Ra is just as good as any of these guys. Amon-Ra is just as good as Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. He could do it all. Sure, Chase might be a step faster, but outside of that.
I'm telling you, though, Chase does – or he's safety now. He doesn't guard. He's not going to guard like that. I think after that game, they were like, whoops, that ain't it, dude. Like, I think they released Slay like 2 or 3 weeks later, and they moved Ramsey up to safety. He sucked, dude. Yeah, and I think it was first game from Flacco, 3 days with the Bengals, and just went and carved him up.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Julius, defensive MVP.
I am going to go with Aiden Hutchinson. I think you guys mentioned Pittsburgh's down to tackle. Aaron Rodgers is a stationary target. So I feel like we can really bring the pressure on the edge this game. We've been really bringing the pressure a lot every game. It's just that we've had a hard time finishing sacks. But I think we can definitely get home on Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to go Aiden Hutchinson for the defensive MVP.
Love that. And my score prediction, even though kind of all have different score predictions, I'm going to go 34-17. I think this now, no, 34-16. I think we see the Steelers just settle with a bunch of field goals. And the next thing you know, they've got 3 field goals and need a touchdown. And that's when they really start trying going for the touchdowns. But I'll go 34-16. Nick, back to you for a defensive MVP.
All right, defensive MVP. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the best defensive edge rusher we have.
AQM.
He might not lead the team in sacks, but he's only a half a sack behind the number 2 overall pick, first draft pick for the Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. And then you got the guy who was off the couch last year coming in after 7 years in the NFL and is just a beast now. 9 sacks on the season. AQM is it. He is him. I'll go with AQM.
He is Quim.
He is Quim.
I was trying to think of a little.
He's a Quim.
It didn't really work. But all right, Julius, pick an offensive MVP.
My offensive MVP for this game, I believe, Nick, you and J-Mo, right?
Waymo.
I am going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. I think, he's going to continue on this every other game flaunt. We really need him. We really need to win. We only win when he goes off. We only win when Jahmyr Gibbs has 100 or more total yards. So that's what he's going to do, offensive MVP Jahmyr Gibbs.
Love it. Those were both my 1A, 1B guys. J-Mo has just been playing lights out, averaging 124 yards over the last 3 games, 5 touchdowns in his last 7. It really seems like once Dan Campbell took over this play calling, he was like, hey, that dude's really fast and pretty good at football, or very good at football. Let's use him more. And we've seen it. And part of it, which has been the Sam Laporta injury, where, there's just more targets to go around. But, man, J-Mo, he is finding his groove. And I think that this could just keep carrying over. The Lions have a Super Bowl offense. Now it's kind of just up to the defense to just pull something out of their ass. Maybe have a little luck, and somehow find a way. And Dan Campbell and Calvin Shepard, those seem like 2 guys that could bring out the best in some absolute no-name, dudes playing in the German football league. Now, I will do my offensive defensive MVP since I haven't picked either. I will go offensive MVP. I want to go Amon-Ra. You know what? Let's go Amon-Ra. I'll take opposite of you, Nick, with the wide receivers.
So no one took Shane Zylstra. No one decided Dan Skipper was going for $120 this week, huh? Okay.
Not bad options,
I'll
but
hold the receipt.
slightly edges him out. ASB, 164 yards. It seems like he's, breaking new records each and every week. I forget the stat he was. I think it was the first wide receiver to have 90 receptions in 5 straight years or something crazy like that. But I'm preaching this. At the end of the day, he's going to have every statistical number for wide receiver for the Lions. But when you look at it, it's always going to be Calvin Johnson, the greatest Lions wide receiver of all time. Now on the defense, you guys took pretty much the only 2 healthy, good actually, no, who am I kidding? Jack Campbell. Can't forget about Jack Campbell.
That's the low-hanging fruit right there.
Mr. All-Pro. Surprised you didn't go after him, Nick.
I was going to, and then I was going to say I'll leave the low-hanging fruit for you, but then I was like, is it really low-hanging fruit? But I think it is, yeah.
We're just so used to him having a forced fumble or doing something crazy that he was kind of quiet last game. Did have the monster game against the Cowboys, but that just lines up for a monster game this week. If Campbell, we're going to need to see him really start to continue this all-pro trend he has. He's got a great all-pro resume. Not 100% sure he will make the first team all-pro just because he's a Lion. That's how, things go. But second team all-pro, I feel like he could sneak his way into. He'll absolutely be a Pro Bowler. But Jack Campbell, give me Jack Campbell. And I already gave my score prediction, so it's back to Nick for score prediction.
All right. The final Ford Field game of the year. There will not be another football game at Ford Field for the Detroit Lions this season. Unless, I guess, a miracle happens. I think maybe there's still a shot we win the NFC North, but
there's like a 1%. I think
I'm not going to. I'm not hanging
my hat on that. There's still a shot we win the NFC.
Packers lose
I'm going to go with this is the last game for Ford Field this year, which means I think the Lions offense shows out. I think the Lions win this game 45-31. 45-31. Ton of points being scored on Sunday. Bet the over on everything. We're taking everyone's points. So give me 45-31 Lions.
All right, Julius, what say you?
I am going to go Lions 30, Steelers 23. I think they'll try to keep up, but a couple late scores won't do. Lions will go up big early and win the game. And 1 of 3 on our march to glory.
That's right.
Go Lions.
Love it. Love it. 3 games left, 3 victories left.
Pull me out. Cash me out. Don't let me go far, my friend.
No, bro, never cash out. Ride and die to the end.
And yes, I blame Nick a little bit because Nick would have been like, "Oh man, you got to cash that out." I would.
No, Nick was like, "Well, all my friends say cash out, but fucking go for it."
That is exactly what happened. And all my friends did say cash out, and I said, that's stupid, bro. You're leaving $1,500 on the table.
I know Pete, too. I know Pete. I should listen to Pete, man.
He would have cashed out at like $300.
I love this.
Oh, yeah. Remember towards the end when we lost the lead, and you were like, yeah, it's like 320 now? I should have just took it.
Yeah.
But by that time, I was already salty, though. I was salty.
Yeah, you're not cashing out. If you skip 1,500, you're not cashing out at 3.
And Julius, I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier to do it when the button's right there. You can press a button to get 15. You're gonna hit that button every time. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Luckily for us, you'll be back in the mitten before you know it, being able to place your own bets, and we'll win some money. But you guys do want to win some more money. I got a Lions betting article coming out in probably an hour or so. Just have to hit the publish, get that good to go. But I am 6-0 in my last 2 games with my Lions picks. I've been feeling it 18-9 over the last 9 weeks. So check that out. It's also on Roundtable Sports. As always, you guys can check us out on X at Honolulu Blues. Look underneath Julius and Nick's name since mine is covered by the beautiful Christmas decorations that Julius or Nick, one of you guys, put up. And Check us out individually at Nick Faber NFL and the Fifth Top for Julius and Everyday FFB for myself. But boys and girls, as always,